I think we can start. Okay, Namaskar and very good afternoon to all of you, and good morning to Casimiro, who is joining us from Paris.
Good morning.
And, I, on behalf of IBRAD, welcome all of you in our campus, those who are here, my persons. I welcome all of you in this panel discussion session, and those who are joining online, welcome to you all in this very important session of the day today, that is on One Health, Tribal Health. So maybe many of us, we are acquainted with the subject One Health, and some of us, maybe it is a bit new to us. So our effort is to introduce this concept of One Health to you all, and to develop a strategy on how we will be able to operationalize it in the field. We have with us today 4 very eminent personalities in this field of One Health, those who are contributing, working in this field of One Health. I'll be taking opportunity to introduce them one by one during their presentation session. But just to brief you, we have with us today Professor P.C. Joshi, the former Vice Chancellor of Delhi University, who will be presenting the keynote address. Dr. Joshi is joining us from Delhi. We have with us Dr. Casimiro Vizzini, who is one of the very important One Health professional expert in the international field. He is joining us from Paris. Dr. Ripan Biswas, one of the veterinarian, he is again joining online. Presently he is at Bareilly, so he's joining us from there. And here we are very honored to have with us Professor C.S. Taklikarji, who is the professor and head Department of Public Health Education from All India Institute of Hygiene and Public Health, and Sri Gopinath Ghoshji, who is the former joint CEO of Khadi and Gramodyog Bhavan. So we are very honored to have with us such luminaries for this panel discussion today. And I once again welcome all of you, our esteemed panelists, speakers, as well as the participants in this program. May I request my colleague, Kanak Roha, to kindly welcome Professor Taklikar with flower. Casimiro, Professor Joshi, and Dr. Biswas, they are not with us here today. So I welcome you by my words, and I cannot offer you the flower. I feel bad about it. So welcome, sir. We are honored. Despite his very busy schedule, they are having exam today, but still he could make it to come here with us. So we are honored. May I now request my colleague, Sri Parna, to kindly welcome Sri Gopinath Ghoshji with the flower. Thank you so much, sir, for your time and for being with us. Thank you very much. May I now request the founder chairman of IBRAD, Professor S.B. Roy, to kindly start this session panel discussion by setting the context for One Health, Tribal Health. Why you want to address this One Health issue in the context of tribal health? We shall be grateful if you kindly set the context for it. Professor Roy, please.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Raktima, Dr. Raktima Mukherjee, the Executive Director, and our panelists, Dr. Taklikar, Mr. Ghosh, Dr. Joshi, And I think that Jia has also joined similarly, and Viswar. Friends, uh, no, it's on. Yeah. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can the outstation participants hear, Professor Roy?
Dr.
Is
Joshi,
he
can
audible?
Yes, yes, we
all
can
of you
hear.
hear?
Yes, audible.
We can hear.
Shaikat, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. I'm hearing.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Please
thank
go
you,
ahead.
thank you.
Yes, please go ahead, sir.
Okay. Yes. My dear friends, health is such a common word. Swasth, for a child, for any person of any age, language, caste, creed, nation, health is a common issue which concerns all of us, particularly just 2-3 years back, whole world suffer from corona and the climate change. In the history, humankind has ever experienced such a kind of misery to the humankind. And after that, all country, all nation experts started thinking about it. What could be such a serious issue which has brought the mankind at the brink of development? And then all started working on that. And what was the realization? What was the main learning in last 3 or 4 years of the two? One, that climate change has been the biggest event on the world reform. And for that, there are many factors for the climate change. But one of the factors which is more responsible, prominently recognized, the loss of biodiversity. And the loss of biodiversity includes depletion of not only plant, not only the microbe of the soil, but the animals. When we call biodiversity, is a collective system of plants, animal, and human together. So if the loss of biodiversity is responsible for both climate change, and during climate change, global warming, people started struggling, studying, and reflecting what has been the main cause of some of the health, like corona, whether it has got anything to do with the animals, disappearance of certain animals, disappearance of certain microbes, and appearance of some microvirus. This is very interesting way of thinking, disappearance of certain and appearance of some. This has given a thought to discuss, and it was studied globally. A common thought came that the plant, animals, that means which form the environment, the human health, and animals, they have mentioned particularly the word animals. All three are interlinked, interdependent. The environment, which includes plants, animal, air, water, environment, animals, and the human health. So if these three are interconnected, interdependent, depletion of animal will cause disaster on the health also. So what I am saying may not be very new thing. I was talking to my colleague who came from Adni project from different districts. If I talk in Hindi or Bengali, यह एक बहुत साधारण बात है, गांव वाले भी जानते हैं, ग्रामीण लोकेराव जाने, भालो खाबार, अच्छा खाना, अच्छा पानी, good food, good water, good air is one of the factors of the good health. So everyone knows it. What is the new thing scientists have mentioned? What is there new? I'm sure the experts sitting over here, they'll explain. This is one of the things which is known to everyone, yet we are instrumental in causing environmental problem, degradation of biodiversity, air pollution, soil pollution, pollution of the water. This is just because of the human activities also. So if we know this, then how to control it? And that is more challenging. In Hindi, कहना आसान है, करना बड़ा मुश्किल है. समझना आसान है, उसको परिवर्तन करना बहुत मुश्किल है. So then it came, okay, which department will do that? कौन करेगा? You know, in government department or any public sector, there are different departments responsible for different agenda, activities, deliverable, output. So who is responsible for the whole health? Whenever we talk of the health, who is responsible? People will call health department. Now, a health department can test, diagnose, understand, but health department cannot provide healthy soil, biodiversity. Health department cannot provide good environment. So what is important that all these sectors who are responsible should have collective action. So the problem comes of understanding the problem, mapping the disease, and addressing the issue as a team, collective team. So this is the recent realization, working together. And I'm very happy to share, Dr. Savil mentioned, recently Indian Council of Medical Science Research, ICMR, they have started forming a working group with agriculture research, Indian Council of Agriculture Research. So this is a very interesting beginning that agriculture, ICMR, and the health will be working together to map the disease and finding the issue. But the challenge comes, what about the other biodiversity? So today we will discuss over here, जो चीज हम जानते हैं, the thing which we know already, that these things are important, how we are going to address. And the third point of human again, we are more towards curative aspects. We are not much attentive for the preventive aspects. So prevention has been a very challenging issue among us. And for the prevention, we all know changing habits and behavior. One of the very common concept of knowledge.
नहीं वो कास्ट यहाँ पे है, बिहार का जो कास्ट है यहाँ पे है और सर्टिफिकेट पास है, पास यहाँ पे है, तो सर्टिफिकेट मिल गया.
Biodiversity, water, and then understanding the factor connected with the disease, how to manage.
कोई डाउट नहीं है, जो इशू जो जिन्होंने किया है उनको पूछिए, आपको नहीं.
Of the people.
ठीक है,
As
कोई
I
डाउट
told
है
you,
तो उनको पूछिए.
and I must tell it again and again, who does not know that
सवाल नहीं
good
आता.
health requires good food, good water, good air? What is the new research about it? But it's more of changing behavior, attitude.
We can't hear you. Professor
mic
Roy, we
is
can't
off.
hear you.
The mic is off.
Your mic is off, sir.
Sorry, he was on mute, he is unmuted.
So the last point which I wanted to touch about the tribal health. IBRAD has been working for sustainable tribal development for quite some time, and it's a center of excellence under the Ministry of Tribal Affairs, Government of India. So the last point what I wanted to touch about the concern for the tribal health. Why concern for the tribal health? Is it the mercy of non-tribal? Is we want to work as a savior? No, not that. One of our responsibility, constitutional requirement, and second important point, I would like to emphasize that most of the biodiversity, as per IUCN, 80% of the rich biodiversity is found in or around the tribal belt, tribal landscape. So if you want to address the biodiversity, if you want to address the challenges of the climate change, we have to see that belt, which is more concerned with which biodiversity and which are the tribal habitat. So addressing tribal health will be also addressing the issue of human health and biodiversity, environment all together. So we will discuss here from different experts about how to go about. What could be the strategy? What could be the action plan? Which should be doable? It is easy to say what I told you is not new research, but what is challenging to bring a new social order, new habits, new behavior for preventing healthcare where environment, human and animals will be considered as web of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Roy, for setting the context for this panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have with this presentation, the keynote address from Professor Joshi. I'm honored to introduce Professor P.C. Joshi with all of you. Professor Joshi is the former Vice Chancellor of Delhi University, and he's a professor of anthropology with his specialization in medical anthropology. He focuses on anthropology of disasters, anthropology of development, and on issues related to social exclusion and adverse inclusion. He was the first president of the Society for Indian Medical Anthropology. He is the editor of the Society for Medical Anthropology Bulletin. Professor Joshi has co-authored a number of books, over 157 articles, book chapters and reviews in the area of medical anthropology, traditional medicines, shamanism, impact of disasters, lifestyle diseases, and antibiotic resistance. He has worked in interdisciplinary areas with psychiatrists, psychologists, epidemiologists, and other researchers on various topics and co-authored many papers. We are honored to have with us Professor Joshi today. And I'll request Sir Professor Joshi to kindly focus upon what are the major challenges of tribal health, particularly in our country, and how do you think One Health approach can help in addressing these challenges, and what could be the doable strategy for implementation of One Health? Professor Joshi, please.
Okay, respected Professor Roy and all the other dignitaries. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Professor Joshi.
Okay. So,
Yes,
Professor
sir,
Roy,
you
it is
are.
always a pleasure to take part in the activities that you are embarking upon. And you have given me the task of relating One Health to tribal health. Well, I would say that tribal health, India's history, and medical anthropology. So the concept of One Health is not new to the tribals, not new to the anthropologists, and not new to the history of India.
One Health.
In fact, I would say that the Western world is now becoming acquainted with such a holistic concept. I would say it is a holistic concept. Because for a long time, medical science per se was a reductionist science where you had body separated from mind. And of course, animals were separated, environment was separated. So that was the kind of reductionist approach that was there in the science. But medical anthropology, tribal health, and the history of India was always emphasizing upon the linkages. Now, I'd like to give an example from King Ashoka the Great. And there was, in one of his edicts, he has mentioned clearly about taking care of human health, but at the same time, taking care of animal health as well. To have facilities for human health, but at the same time, to also have facility for animal health. To have medicines for human health, at the same time, to have facilities for animal health medicines as well. So from at a time which was, I think, 300 BC, we had this realization that animal health and human health are both important. And of course, India is also a country where for a very long time, among the Jain people following Jain religion, there have been hospitals exclusively devoted to animals. We have had for the last thousands of years, these hospitals are functioning in India. In fact, one such hospital is there in front of the Red Fort in Delhi, where the animals are freely treated in a charitable manner. So therefore, what I'm trying to say is that a realization that human health is intricately linked to animal health was known to India at least 2000 years ago.
Sir, you got muted.
Your mic. You should open your mic, Professor Joshi.
Professor Joshi, kindly unmute yourself.
Okay. For a very long time, the religion of the tribals was known as animistic religion. Now, what is animistic religion? Animistic religion is to have supplicative attitude, respectful attitude towards animals, towards plants, towards water, towards forests, towards mountains. And what is One Health? One Health is now, we are saying that it is all one. Animals, the environment, the animals, the forest, the water, the air, they are all intricately related into one integrated whole. And that is the concept of One Health. Therefore, when we are talking of the tribal health, when we're talking the tribal concept of health, One Health is already an integral part of the concept of health among the tribals. In fact, I would say that the Western world is now coming up with what is called as new animism. Now, new animism is a realization of the animism that we for a very long time have been saying that it was a superstitious idea. No, animals are also very important. Human alone cannot survive in this earth. And the harms of Anthropocene that we are seeing in the form of polluted water, polluted air, polluted food, polluted milk, polluted poultry, everything, that is there is now a new realization that we perhaps need to go back to new animism. So we have come a full circle from denouncing animism to accepting animism. So One Health is in a way realization that human health is not a singular phenomena. It is an integrated phenomena with other entities. And I think that is something which has been part and parcel of anthropological, or to be more specific, of medical anthropological investigations for the last 50, 60 years. In medical anthropology, there is a special branch which is called as medical ecology. Now, medical ecology is basically concerned with what now we are calling as ecosystem health. So ecosystem health, environment linkages with human health, animal linkage with human health. This is what is now coming up as One Health. And I think the world is now realizing the importance of our dealing with our forest, our dealing with our water, our dealing with our air, our dealing with our animals, our dealing with our plants. And I think that is a new beginning. I would say it is again a restarting of learning the lessons of life. And that is what, to my mind, One Health is. Now, as far as the Indian tribal and their health is concerned, because tribals are no more living in isolation, they are in touch. So when you had COVID-19, the tribals were also affected by COVID-19 because nobody is now separated. So maybe the COVID-19 came to them a bit later, but it does came to them as well. So therefore, whatever we are doing, whatever strategies we are making under One Health, so that human beings can have a better health and human beings have a better relationship with the animals, human beings have a better relationship with the environment. I think tribals should also be an integral part of the strategy because tribals are no more isolated. Now, I was a member of a group, international group. It was called GARP, Global Antibiotic Resistance Partnership. So this Global Antibiotic Resistance Partnership, which actually came up with the report which was published in Indian Journal of Medical Science in 2011, in that it also highlighted the antibiotic resistance, which of course was because of the prescribing practices which are wrong in India, where people prescribe antibiotic and take antibiotic by the turn of the head. There was also concern raised about antibiotic resistance coming to human beings by eating chicken, by eating eggs, and by drinking milk. So there are these antibiotics which are going into agricultural fields. There are antibiotics which are going to meat and other kind of poultry things. So this is also a very, very important area where I think we need to focus our attention and we need to rationalize our antibiotic intake in a manner that these from milk and from chicken, from poultry, from meat, antibiotics resistance is not coming to us, because there was a danger of superbug coming from chicken at one point of time, and these are all real dangers. So therefore, I think what is required is that we need to realize our health is not only a matter of eating of some antibiotics, eating of some medicines, or eating of some food. We must understand the sources, from where the food is coming, sources from where the water is coming, and all that has to be taken up in a holistic manner. And as I am saying, that tribals are not isolated anymore. Therefore, the same strategy will have to also be adopted for our tribal areas, because tribal areas are more in danger, perhaps because the medical services there are very poor. Therefore, if they have some problem, then they will have to make lot of efforts. I think more efforts than we require, and therefore I think our tribal areas are also very, very sensitive, and therefore we need to take the lessons of One Health that we are trying to apply to maybe to urban areas and rural areas. We need to think of especially of the tribal areas where perhaps the awareness is not more, where perhaps the facilities are not that much, because all these new things that are coming in the form of COVID-19, Ebola, and all those things, they are our creations. They are our sins. I would say they are our sins. They are because of the Anthropocene. We are the master. We are the creator of all these kind of new things. But tribals who have been following a very regimented life, living with nature, living in One Health kind of environment for generations together, it is not their fault. And therefore, it is our responsibility that we should also look after the tribals who would be innocent victims of the acts and deeds done by us, the civilized human beings. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Professor Joshi. And actually, sir has given us the wider spectrum for this One Health, and not only us, the tribal and the entire human civilization, how we are interrelated with each other, and how these tribals, who are the least contributor towards the degradation of the natural environment, natural ecosystems, or climate change, are the worst sufferer, and how this strategy for One Health should be mainstreamed as a policy, as a implementable solution for all of us. Thank you so much, sir, for setting the broader context for the discussion today. And I'm sure with your wisdom, knowledge, guidance, and association, we will be able to come out with some practical, doable solutions for implementation. Thank you very much. Friends, we have with us, as I have mentioned, Dr. Casimiro Vizzini, who is joining us from Paris. And it's my pleasure to introduce with you all Dr. Vizzini. Casimiro is a medical doctor and an accomplished professional in the field of international relations. He has joined UNESCO's Science Policy and Capacity Building Division in April 2007. Throughout his tenure, he has made notable progress in science communication and education through the design and implementation of projects funded by the European Commission. He collaborated with the American Association for Advancement of Sciences on projects related to science diplomacy. He served as the Secretary General of the European University Alliance for Global Health from 2020 to 22. Since 2022, Dr. Vizzini has assumed the role of responsibility for institutional relations at the One Sustainable Health for All Foundation, further amplifying his impact on promoting a sustainable approach to One Health practice worldwide. We welcome Dr. Vizzini in today's panel discussion, and we are so happy and honored to have Casimiro with us today. May I request Dr. Vizzini to kindly focus upon during his discussion, like how One Health is given a priority at the international level, what are the bottlenecks and challenges for its operationalization, and what kind of capacity building strategies can help in implementation of the One Health approach. With his worldwide experience, I am sure Dr. Vizzini will be able to throw upon light on these issues. Welcome, Casimiro. The floor is yours now.
Thank you very much, Rector. I'm honored to be here with you today, and it's really a great pleasure to collaborate with you in the One Sustainable for Health Forum, and you're doing a great job. Thank you very much. I would like to also thank Professor Joshi for his insightful words, and Professor Roy, because I mean, you underlined something, Professor Joshi, that is extremely important, and it's something that they always tend to underline, that also is that One Health is an older practice for a recent concept. And we should really learn how to switch mindset. And this is in the point where I'm gonna focus talking about the internationalization of the One Health approach. Through this is done and can be done through different mechanisms and initiatives. And actually the One Sustainable Health for All Forum is playing a crucial role in advancing in this agenda. We have different points I would like to take into consideration. First of all, multilateral organizations like the World Health Organization, the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, the World Organization for Animal Health, and the UNEP, the United Nations Environmental Programme, has established a partnership and frameworks to promote the One Health approach. The goal is to coordinate efforts and to address health issues that involves the human, the animals, and the environment. But we don't have to forget that they also have an essential role in advocating for educational initiatives that promote interdisciplinary understanding. I would like to focus again the attention to the word education. I'm happy to be with you today because I think that the most important tool to change mindset is education, and I will decline this in the other points. Then I would like to talk about the global health agendas. One Health principles are integrated into global health agendas, such as the Sustainable Development Goals. That's why in our forum, we combine One Health with the word sustainable, because we think that there's a direct link, and it includes targets related to health and food security, environmental sustainability. And this interconnected approach can also be encouraged through educational institutions incorporating One Health in the curricula, for example. And then another point is research and data sharing. International collaboration in research and data sharing is encouraged to better understand and respond to zoonotic disease and other health threats. For example, we are members of the PREZOOT project that is extremely important in the prevention of zoonotic, and the other initiatives to identify and monitor potential disease reservoir in wildlife. These efforts not only advance scientific knowledge, but also offer opportunities for educational institutions to engage students in interdisciplinary research. So once again, I'm using the word education. Then I would like to say that policy and advocacy are essential in the internationalization of One Health approach. Advocacy efforts by governments and non-governmental organizations emphasize the importance of One Health in preventing pandemics and safeguarding public health. This advocacy campaign often involves public awareness and education, again, programs to shift mindsets towards a more holistic view of health. Finally, education itself, as I say, this is so important that we cannot take it into consideration as one point in the internationalization. I think that if we don't think that we have to start in two ways, the long term and the short term to change mindset. The long term means starting from the youth. So changing mindset in the youth means that the future stakeholders will be people prepared and knowledgeable about this kind of approach. But also in the short terms, we need awareness, as I said, advocacy, because we need to operate in those who are working nowadays in the field of health. So I think that these are the elements that I would like to underline talking about the internationalization. But let's talk about the bottlenecks that Rakhima mentions, because this is where we have our, let's say, barriers. First of all, I will start from siloed approaches. Historically, health systems have been compartmentalized with separate entities, so for human, animal, and especially now for environmental health. So this is the first step. And once again, education is behind there. The first step is we have to breaking the silos, and we really need to start sitting together. And this is one of the role of the forum with experts from the three disciplines and promote the dialogue. This is really important, and this is what we do in the working groups. Rakhima is an active member in the forum. Then resource constraints. We have to be aware that limited funding, infrastructure, and expertise for One Health initiatives can hinder effective implementation. Coordinating resources across sectors can be complex. And and this comes also from the siloed approach that I mentioned before, because in the funding mechanism, sometimes we know that some funds are dedicated to that, and it's really difficult to, when reporting about the use of these funds, to justify something that is considered an environmental approach from an animal approach or a human approach, because the funding is still compartmentalized. And that's then for those who are really working in the field is a real problem, because you have to justify the way you're using your funds. Then policy and regulatory gaps, because inconsistent policies and regulations at national and international levels can impede the harmonization and of efforts, and achieving alignment in legal frameworks is essential, and it has to be done on international level, as I said, through the quadripartite and other UN agencies and international organization or non-governmental organization, but also at national level. This is extremely important, because if we have a gap between the international and the national level, I think there is a part that will never be achieved. And then once again, I will mention data sharing and surveillance, because data sharing between health sectors and across borders can be hindered by concerns about privacy, security, and data ownership. For example, in my experience, I've been responsible for a project, the Human Variant Project, that was Australian initiative for the creation of a network of databases about genetic information around the world. It was very hard, I can tell you, to harmonize policies around the world and facing regulatory gaps. And finally, I will mention again public awareness also as a bottleneck, because raising public awareness about the interconnections of health systems and health, animal health and environmental, and the benefits of the One Health approach is not so easy. Sometimes we face, let's say, a lack of confidence, a lack of credibility that can create obstacles, and this is then all these bottlenecks are related, because as you can see, one leads to the other. So I think the approach has to be interdisciplinary, not only in the One Health concept, but also in how to approach the One Health concept. Finally, I would like to underline, Raktima, you mentioned the capacity building strategy, the possible capacity building strategies to facilitate the implementation of the One Health approach. As I said, education, I will repeat again, from up all levels, from kindergarten to PhD students and researchers. Interdisciplinary training is essential, developing educational programs and training courses that bring together professionals. Let me know if I'm taking too much time. Training courses training courses that bring together professionals from the different disciplines. This is essential, and this will create the next generation of experts. We need that. Cross-sectoral partnerships, and encouraging governments and academic institutions, NGOs, and private sector. Let's take on board the private sector. I know that it's hard, but we don't have to forget the role of private sector. We have to be aware that they have an essential role, and to work together and leveraging their collective expertise and resources. Research and innovation. Investing in research and innovation to develop new technologies, diagnostic and interventions that can support One Health goals is an important aspect of capacity building. And strengthening and surveillance system, as I mentioned before, we need to to be aware what is going on. Let's say that in a very simple way. This is the only way to create knowledge about One Health surveillance. And finally, I will say policy and advocacy again. As a capacity building approach, we need to engage the policymakers to advocate. And this can come also from the academy. I need that you academics, you have a huge role in advocating for the integration of One Health principle into national and international health policies, regulations, and framework. I think you are the voice of the knowledge. You have this pivotal role in creating the next generation, but also so in both, as I mentioned, short and long term. And then I will finish here. You have this extremely important role in the short and the long term. In the long term, because you are forging the new generation of experts, but at the same time you have an influence on policymakers and decision makers. So I think that this is extremely important that you are here today, and I'm honored again, and thank you for having me with you. 15 minutes, I think.
So much. Thank you very much for your very insightful deliberations and bringing on the table some of the very, very important and urgent critical issues. As Casimiro has mentioned, like for implementation of the One Health, we need next generation professionals, which is very important. How we can break the silos, the boundaries, and develop a new kind of education system. He was mentioning repeatedly education, and when he said education, he also mentioned like how we can break the silos, break the boundaries, and develop a new kind of curriculum right from the school level to say PhD level. So we need basically for implementation of One Health, we need a change in our mindset and attitude first, the approach. And again, another very important point that he has repeatedly mentioned is to have a coherent policies, because many a times we know what is to be done, but there are, due to the conflicting policies, it is difficult to attain to. So how we can have coherent policies, and how through our long-term and short-term implementation, development of evidence-based cases, we can influence the policymakers, because unless and until the policy makers are on board, it's difficult to implement developing strategy. So thank you so much, Casimiro, for having a broader framework on different issues, and especially as you have mentioned, in this training, education, whatever we say, how we can help promote changing behavior of the people for taking actions to act in a convergent mode, develop the surveillance strategy, monitoring strategy in a way, so how to make people accountable and not in compartments. So these are all very the most important issues, and from the national, international perspective, your experiences, the points that you have raised, I'm sure like we will have more such opportunities for discussion by taking each of the issues as a matter of discussion in one session. Thank you. May I now request our next speaker, Sri Gopikant Ghosh ji. Mr. Ghosh is by profession, like education-wise, he's an engineer, chemical engineer. He started his career with the corporate sector, Hindustan Lever, and then due to his keen interest in rural development, he shifted. He has worked in the rural development sector, particularly with the tribal communities in different parts of the country, including the very remote northeastern region. Then he took up the responsibility in Khadi and Gramodyog industries of government of India. He took his retirement from there as the joint CEO of Khadi and Gramodyog industries. So I'll request Sir, Mr. Ghosh, to kindly share his thoughts on how, based on his experiences, he found that the tribal people, they are facing the challenges, particularly in terms of achieving their health goals, particularly in the northeastern region, and how you think this One Health approach could be a solution for thinking in a comprehensive solution for tribal health, particularly. Mr. Ghosh, please.
Raktima, there's someone with the mic on that is probably, I don't know. We cannot really hear.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Professor Joshi, Professor Roy, and all.
Excuse me.
Mr.
Excuse me.
Kaushik Shah, please mute your
My
microphone.
background.
Please, can someone
jumped into
mute?
anthropology by coincidence.
There's
Mr.
some
Kaushik Shah,
background
please
noise.
mute.
Sorry,
The
Can you hear me?
subject
There's-
given to me within 10 minutes is very difficult to correlate because in Northeast there are 150 tribes and there are micro level and macro level differences. Anyway, I'm starting with human. If you break human, it becomes healthy universe for man and nature. So this is the concept we should move around. I will start with the non-tribal areas, comparing two of the regions of India. One is Kerala, other is known as Bimaru states. That means Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, North India. What is the difference? Difference is, one is the difference in literacy rate. Kerala is top, they are not. And what is the advantage of this disadvantage? In Kerala, antibiotic resistance is highest, immunity is lowest, whereas in Bimaru states, they do not go usually to the doctor, and they treat their patients with Dadi Ma Ki Botua. If there is a, usually in the last stage they go, by then everything is in, and immunity is highest level. So this is, I'm mentioning especially because in North, now if you are seeing the list of literate states, among the first 6, except Kerala, all are from Northeastern India. Mizoram, and Nagaland, Manipur, Tripura, and Meghalaya are the leading states in literacy rate. The problem is that doctors are less and literacy is high, and there is a trend for self-medication is more because medical shops are there, doctors are not there. So it is, and this is the problem we are going to face in future unless we take right step. And Kerala should lead, in fact. And I don't know how it will come up, but this is the problem. Now I'll come to Northeastern India. In Northeastern India, there is a social changes, a lot of social changes taken place, religious, society, modernization, and it is changing and changing and changing. And topography is very difficult. One cannot go. We usually ignore them. They feel bad. And they do not consider us as the part of this thing. I was an exception. If I go there, they will accept me because I mixed with them. But normally people from here, they do not go and mix. And there are, they have their own lifestyle. Their lifestyle was, if you just read one of the top anthropologists wrote 2 books, Fister von Hammendorf. First book he wrote was Naked Nagas. And the second book he wrote, much later, after 3 decades, Return to the Naked Nagas. And he analyzed the differences, how it has happened, but not in that micro level that we are discussing, but it is there in that. These changes has taken place now. When they had their own life, own lifestyle, own system, they used to take a lot of rice beer. It's a brew, an alcoholic brew. Alcohol level maybe somewhere not more than 10%. And they were not addicts. They used to enjoy the festivals with that. What has happened after the changes? In Manipur, the change, religious change was different. It's a Vaishnavism. And in other states, it is Christianity. And some states, it is Buddhism. Now, what has happened was alcohol is bad for these new religions. So they stopped it. They should not discourage it. What has happened later, as the new lifestyle came, they started taking whiskey and rum, but not this. And they made an addiction. It was not addiction earlier. And they used to flush the kidney because urination was high. So this problem, but these people, they do, except those who are staunch Hindus, staunch Christians, they are teetotalers. But others are not that staunch. So they started consuming this. The disease came in. They had their own medicinal system, and they did it. I do not say you should stop the reservation, but they are scheduled tribes. They started getting jobs. Those, and it is this medical system was orally translated into generation to generation, and this knowledge was totally lost. And this problem is coming now. I faced it because I had some, my colleagues used to call me a mad director because of this. In Manipur, when I was posted, I wrote 2-volume books of their medication system. About 238 species I covered. And how they use it as mentioned that botanical name, what is the chemical analysis, how allopathy sees it, how homeopathy sees it, and how they use it. So this is how I did it. But for one man, it is not. It's very difficult to write the entire thing, and you need collaboration with botanist. I am only an engineer, so there you need a botanist, you need a doctor to do it. Anyway, I did that. I sent the copy to the then CSIR DG Maselkar, R.G. Maselkar. Maselkar ji agreed that this should be a holistic approach with all professionals, and we should take up. But then soon after that, he became Secretary Science and Technology. So he lost the touch. He moved the file there also, and then he retired. So it never came out. Some such data were prepared in Jagdalpur by one Darshan Shankar. He was from Bangalore. He did a good job, but not that holistic. Now, this is while doing so, I learned a lot of things. In one of the remote villages, I went and I used to stay not in the dak bungalows. I used to stay in a remote village places and all that. There I had fever. They brought a leaf, and the decoction of that gave me. And I fever within 1 hour, fever came down. And I was normal, I went there. Then I wanted to find out what are the plant. It is a plant which gives dyes to their cloth. It is a very common plant. It is known as wild indigo. And now what has happened, and that plant gives 2 shades of colors, blue and black. How it is, I got it analyzed, why it is happening, and that's another subject. So there, it is a wild growth. Now, what has happened is Naga skulls, now they are not giving natural dye. They lost the medicine for their fever. And now they are getting dyes, which causes azo dyes banned all over the world and causes skin cancer. This is what is the changes has taken place. There are a lot of examples, and we world has taken from them also. Like Ipecac is a plant in Meghalaya which cures amoebic dysentery, and the doctors from British Army they took it, and now the dysentery medicine which has been made now, there's a chemical from that Ipecac plant learned from the Khazis, and now we are using it. So these are a lot of gaps. Now what I feel is changes is taking place. First thing is awareness is problem is in One Health problem. Awareness is necessary because we are almost even in Calcutta, self-medication is a disease. And medicinal shops also give it without prescription. And we do not know what is what. Small thing, indigestion, acidity, and win, we take same medicine. Jelly ले लो ना हो जाएगा. Antibiotic is like we take like lozenges. So this is what I feel. Education, as one of the panelists said, it's a school education. It should be introduced to create awareness. The non-formal education by Gandhiji had a medical facility from class, medical awareness subject was there from class 8. And this was continued for some time in earlier part of our independence. Now it is abolished. So this would have created some awareness among the students. And in Northeast, one system in Manipur, it should be, we should follow. But they call the doctors as Maibas and Maibis. In fact, we think that Manipuris are Vaishnavas, they are not. They are going back to their original religion, and they burned Bhagavad Gita one day, the day they were converted. They hate Hinduism, but they are continuing because of political reasons. Now they stop writing Singh. You can watch out. Many of the Manipuris, they don't write Singh. Only Biren Singh is writing because he needs to be chief minister. Otherwise, not. They are not writing Singh. They are going back. And in fact, one day I was going out. My colleagues asked me not to go out because that day they were Puya Maithawa is a day when they burn Bhagavad Gita, and they blame us for the conversion. So if I go out, I would have given a bit more. So in Imphal, city of Imphal. But they have a system, Maiba Maybe system. Maiba is the male doctor, maybe is there. They have their own medical college. And from them, I got a lot of data, how they use the medicine. And death certificate only if a Maiba gives, their last rite will be done. In marriage ceremony, they come. They have a system. If the marriage is confirmed, they get Aula, the gooseberry, because it gives vitamin C. So that's the system there. I'm not saying that Maiba may be like, in fact, our Ayurvedic system is also spoiled. They started giving antibiotic also. But this Maiba system, retaining it, bringing it to our system for the One Health, maybe a idea. The attempt I made about the documentation of that tribal system, it must be done officially by every government. We should recommend this. And education, it should include this. Tribal, there are a few plants which are really unique, like Nismitita, Coptistita is a botanical name. It cures almost many diseases. In Arunachal, it grows wild. There are a lot of things. In interior, tribals are better. Those who are urbanized, they are again following our lifestyle. In fact, I treat myself with the Ayurvedic system only, except one disease, which I did not take this, is a cancer. So cancer I got treated, I regularly visit. But in the cancer hospital, I asked, because our family, we had 15 persons had cancer, I had cancer also. And the doctor said, no, it is inheritance, it is hereditary. I said, no, you have inherited the lifestyle. You have not inherited the disease. Yeah, so, and how? Then he asked me, what do you take fruits? No. Do you smoke? Yes. And do you reuse the oil? Yes. So there are 10 such things which we used it and we inherited also. This is it. Anyway,
Thank you so much.
Awareness in anything. Thank you for giving me opportunity.
Thank you, Mr. Ghosh. He has raised some very important issues, including the importance of documenting the traditional knowledge and practices that the tribal communities they have, that they are following since generations. So this needs to be documented and validated with the scientific method, and through this we can come up with some viable solutions for addressing our health in a more comprehensive manner. and his personal experience of documentation of such knowledge system from the Northeast India, which is very interesting. And thank you so much, sir, for bringing in such ideas with us. Um, we have with us now Dr. Ripon Biswas. I think Dr. Biswas has joined us. Dr. Biswas, are you there? Yes, yes, I have seen him. Yes. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Ripon Biswas. Dr. Biswas is the assistant professor in the Department of Veterinary Public Health, West Bengal University of Animal and Fishery Sciences. He is interested in zoonotic diseases, foodborne diseases, fishborne diseases, and One Health. He is having his research and publication on the One Health approaches adopted in a low resource setting to address antimicrobial resistance, because we all know we have to come up with some solutions considering our low resource setting, which is very important issue that Dr. Biswas is working upon, and his area of research on One Health, I'm sure, will be able to have a very good insight from Dr. Biswas in this discussion session. And I'll request Dr. Biswas to kindly focus upon some of the areas like, how do you think the complementary health of human and animal can be addressed through One Health? And what kind of strategies would help in improving the livestock public health, which in turn can improve human health? Dr. Biswas, please.
Thank you, ma'am. I would like to pay my regards to all the dignitaries present here. Actually, I want to share my slides from my side. So can I? Actually, it is being disabled from your side, ma'am. If you allow me to enable to share my slides.
Yes, I have given the permission.
Okay, okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Is it available? Yes, it's coming. The screen is coming.
Is it visible?
It's coming. Your screen is coming.
Okay, okay. So basically, my previous speakers have well described and detailed about the One Health, and already you have given me the theme, that is independence of human health and animal health. Basically, it is nothing but One Health. And before going to the One Health, we should know about the One Health. Ma'am, am I audible, ma'am? Okay.
You are.
So One Health, actually, it refers to the collaboration, interdisciplinary, and the multi-sectional approach to achieve the optimum health in case of animal health, in case of human health, as well as the ecosystem. So before going to the One Health, we should know about the legends who have worked for this. And first legend, basically, he actually coined the term zoonosis. By coining term zoonosis, he actually made the tune to develop that One Health or one medicine. Basically, he is no one that is the Rudolf Virchow. Actually, he actually coined the term zoonosis, and you might be knowing that what is zoonosis. Zoonosis is nothing but it is the diseases of vertebrate animals which can be transmitted to animals. Actually, the zoonotic diseases. And he termed this term for the first time. And secondly, another man who is also pioneer for this One Health, he is Calvin Schwab. Actually, this man, he visited our country and given some plan for implementation of One Health. For the first time, he actually coined the term that is one medicine. And another man, he is the father of veterinary public health, and he first time he actually proposed to open a division, that is veterinary public health, who will work for that zoonotic diseases which is coming from animals, and that division was opened in CDC USA. this is the timeline of total One Health. There are so many pioneer workers worked for this, and it was started at the time, that is in the year 1880. But most importantly, in the year 2000, in the year 2007, we actually, that is One Health, One World Symposium, that actually organized by Wildlife Conservation Society. So this society has taken a bow for all the professions of this One Health. Side, there are World Bank, there is OIE, that is World Organization of Animal Health, WHO. So there are so many organizations. They are now to develop, to apply this health approach concept, as it is very new to us. And if we actually imply this, if we apply this concept for every sector, definitely we will achieve the optimum health for different sectors like human health, animal health, and ecosystem mental health. Next, before knowing the One Health, definitely we should know the health. What is health? Actually, health is nothing but it is the combination of a physical, mental, and social status. So it is the state of complete well-being, and which will come from physical and socially. So definitely that is only possible when three tier or three component will work together. That is ecosystem, human health, and so if we look this picture, definitely this is actually not a hostile condition. If hostile condition happened, just imagine what will occur. Actually, disease is actually shared by so many animals, and if that animals are actually abolished from this world, definitely all disease will come to the human. So we need a friendship or a friendly environment, friendly living habitat to cope up this situation. So human health and animal health, we should work together, and we should ask ourselves and as animal is it was with us as in our old age and in our modern time also. Yes, it is their animal. So in the modern time, you just see we are actually using animal for food, we are using animal for our company. So definitely diseases are there in the animal. So if we know the condition or appearance of the disease in animal, definitely we can control the disease in human. And this is a report. Actually, there are 115 human pathogens. Basically, this is the report. We have got it. This is the report up to 2011. So 1,415 human pathogens are there. Out of that, 61% zoonotic in nature. That's in 868 diseases that are coming from these animal or animal sector. If you consider there are so many diseases like bacterial disease, parasitic, viral, so there are so many diseases. And this picture basically you just see at the left side, there are actually so many viruses, bacteria, and microbes, all these. But in case of animal, these all these animals are as a host, and this has a in wide broad range of that host. And animals, they share their organism in between themselves. So sometimes that virus can come to the human by spillover, and from human to human that transmission can also take place again. So this is the picture, and this is the scenario of the disease, that 60% of human infection that is coming from animals, that is zoonotic disease, and out of that 75% are emerging. So what is emerging? Emerging disease are nothing but the diseases which are, you know, that very recently we have experienced COVID-19, which has come from basically animal, and it is nothing but the origin of that virus is actually bad. So these new diseases called emerging diseases. If you consider last 20 years, then we have got basically so many diseases. You have heard the name Nipah virus, you have heard the name SARS, you have heard the name MERS. So many virus has come to us that is totally new to us. But basically all the diseases are coming to us out of that 5 disease, 3 disease basically is coming from animals. So zoonotic disease or to know the animal diseases, it is very important to us. And if we do not know about the animal or animal diseases, definitely in future, it will be very difficult to combat the disease, combat the pandemic. So we have to know the nature of the animal, we have to know the behavior of the animal, and as well as we have to know the disease of the animal. So One Health is very much necessary to apply in each and every sector, from the local to national as well as at international level. So this is in other time of that outbreak of new diseases. And it is I have just given a short period of time and just see how many diseases have come to this planet for the first time. From 2003 to 2021, we have got so many diseases, and already some have mentioned like Ebola, like Zika virus, like monkeypox, all the diseases that are new to us. And very recently in India, we have the Zika virus, and you know that this outbreak was taken place in Kerala. So we have to know the pattern of the diseases, how the disease is actually spread from one area to another other place. This is the global picture of the outbreak of the disease which has come from animals. So who are the culprits? Basically, categorically, I have shown that there are 5 culprits. Number one culprit is global trade. You know that for globalization, we have got so many diseases. We have made the world very small because of this globalization. Today morning we are in India, and today evening we reach America. So definitely it is for that globalization. This globalization or global trade, we are actually exporting and importing so many animal products, so many products as well as human beings, as well as so many logistic from one nation to another nation. So by this process, actually we are transmitting the disease from one country to another country. You know, COVID-19, the origin of this disease is China, but the very first, second, it was Italy. So this is only for this globalization. Next one, that is climate change, and you know that climate is another one big culprit for this happening of these zoonotic diseases. So what is actually why that climate change or that increasing of temperature, how it is actually associated with to become or to happening the disease? Actually, for this climate change, microbes as well as some vectors like mosquito, like so many insects, actually they are getting a proper temperature for their breeding. So you just think about the temperature, think about last 20 years. 20 years back, we don't have such type of outbreak of dengue, we don't have such type of outbreak like malaria, but nowadays we are actually facing each and every year we are getting dengue, Japanese encephalitis. So this temperature, insects, they are getting a proper temperature, and that proper temperature, adequate temperature, the insect is actually increasing day by day. Number 3, that is unplanned urbanization. You know, we are actually cutting the forest, and we are each and every time we are actually destroying our agricultural field and the forest. Urbanization. Not only that, when you are actually sanctioning in that complex, definitely we are in a small place, we are accommodating so many people. So for their daily uses, their waste and their food waste, each and everything they are just throwing out. So for that only the disease is actually also spreading. And the fourth one, that is emerging resistance or antimicrobial resistance. Days are coming that there will be no medicine to combat this component, that is antimicrobial resistance. Maybe you have not taken a single antibiotic in your life, but whenever you will check for any antimicrobial sensitivity test, definitely you will get 20 to 25 antibiotics that have already got resistance against these antibiotics. So this is very important. We should very much, we should have to become aware about this uses of these antibiotics. And the last one, vector, definitely we have to take some control and precautionary measures vector, because you know that there are so many vectors nowadays it is coming to transmit the disease. Here I have given two pictures. On the right side, it is that rabies, which is totally related with a dog. And you know that if we control the dog and if we control the dog bites, definitely we can control the rabies. As you know, rabies virus, it is the deadliest virus in the world. And if you got affected by this, definitely there is no way to escape from this disease. As you know, yes, sir, has not a recoverable medicine, but the medicine we do have, it can actually prolong the lifespan of us. And in the right side, you can see this is the actually epidemiological component of Nipah virus. Actually, bat is actually the animal who actually is spreading this virus, but juice, it is actually very popular in Southeast Asia, a country like India, Bangladesh. So whenever we are actually consuming this you just take this juice. Next important thing that should be a matter of concern for us, that is actually biomedication by heavy metals or different pesticides. You know that whenever we actually visit the market, we actually we used to buy the good looking fish, vegetables. So we should production for these vegetables. Farmers, they're bound to actually give so many pesticides. They are using so heavy metals. So these are actually accumulating in phytoplankton, zooplankton, as well as small fish is actually eating that phytoplankton and zooplankton. So it is actually accumulating in the small fish. Audible?
I cannot hear him anymore.
Yes, Dr. Vishwas, you were audible.
Am I audible? Okay. So actually, biomagnification, that's when we should avoid the big size fish, big mixes. We should avoid magnification, because you know that whenever that big fish, they are actually eating the small fish in the body of that big fish. So we actually targeting some animals like that, but by targeting them, actually we actually destroy our ecosystem, because you know that the bat actually not a bad animal, because bat are the only mammals, and it is the second largest family in the world after rat. So it is maintaining our ecosystem, it is maintaining our biodiversity and strengthening our food chain. So pollination, spreading seeds, So definitely we should take care of them. As last 20 years, some diseases come from this bed, but we should not target the bed. And next on microplastic, it is another matter concern. As you know, use of plastic, each and every time, each and every material, we are actually consuming microplastic in micro level. Suppose you are actually drinking milk, consuming definitely microplastic. Research paper already reported that actually microplastic, it is present in breast milk of mother. So we should actually take care of this microplastic. And as you know that there are 3R, recycle, reuse. So basically, if we can restrict the use of plastic, definitely we can save our next generation by from these plastics. And that is that
May I
antimicrobial
request
resistance
you to
already I have
kindly
focused it.
wrap up within 2 minutes
Yes, yes,
to
yes,
paucity
madam.
of
Yes,
time?
yes,
Please
yes.
wrap up.
Actually, we can. Yes, yes, madam. Actually, we can control all this by immunization. As you know, the smallpox have eradicated by second thing, that is environmental hygiene. If you keep your environment clean, definitely that some diseases it will be. Next thing, that is vector borne. You can you control the vector. Next one, that is vector. We have make an awareness in the common people regarding this reservoir control. Those who are actually spreading the disease, we should not put the reservoir at the early detection. If we can detect the disease early, definitely control the disease early. And the next one, that is the hygienic manner, that animal husbandry and proper wholesome milk. And the outcome of this One Health, you know that if we just maintain this One Health, or if we can apply this One Health, outcome will be there, and we can reduce the risk of future pandemics and outbreak. We will be there to produce a high amount of food, and we get ecological diversity, better quality of food, and sustainable consumption, and improve climate.
Hello?
Thank you, ma'am.
Um,
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello?
Am I audible?
Sorry, we cannot hear you, Dr. Bishar. Hello?
Yes, I've completed, ma'am.
Maybe
It's
we
he
have
said,
lost his
Ratima, I think I heard he say that it's
cannot
is
hear him
finished.
properly.
He said it's finished. He said thank you.
Yeah. So actually, Dr. Vishwas is joining from a very remote place. We are so thankful that he could join even from there, but maybe due to internet connectivity, we cannot hear him properly. But thank you so much, Dr. Vishwas, for giving us a very comprehensive idea about the One Health, its emergence, the historical perspective, and how this human and animal health, their dependence, and what should be our actions to have a balance between both human and animal health. I'm sure Dr. Vishwas is based at Kolkata. So in future, we will have the opportunity to meet him personally, to have him in our campus, and where we can have more detailed interaction with him. Today, at least he could join even from a very remote place online, and most of his deliberations we could listen, but the last part we couldn't listen properly. Thank you so much, Dr. Vishwas.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look forward to have you more discussions association with you and receive you in our campus. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'll be there.
Dr. Jaideep Sengupta from Sidhu Kanu Birsa University department. He is with us. Please come, Jaideep. Come in the front. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now it is time to listen to our chief guest today, Professor Dr. Chandrasekhar Taklikar. Dr. Taklikar is the professor and head of the Department of Health Promotion and Education at the All India Institute of Hygiene and Public Health. His area of interest includes nutrition and dietetics and public health. He has expertise in disease prevention, nutritional epidemiology, non-communicable diseases, and nutritional education. In his department, they are offering courses on this for promotion of health education, health promotion and education. They're having postgraduate level courses and taking very important role in developing strategies for communication, for changing behavior of the people and developing IEC strategies. So I'll request our chief guest today, Professor Taklikar, to kindly have his deliberation. It's cut. No, actually, it may not catch your voice properly. That's why. Please unmute. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, madam. And thank you, Dr. Rai, for inviting me and as a chief guest for this session. Now, I think all my previous speakers has covered everything. I don't think I have to talk anything more about One Health now. I think you have got, all of you have got idea what is One Health. So as the sir was saying that it is not, Dr. Joshi was also saying it's not new, right? Nothing new is there. Everything was there, and what we have to do is we need to work together. That is the simple thing. See, everybody, the veterinarians, the doctors for the humans, the environmentalists, specifically the food from where you can get infections. So if you think of health, human health specifically to think, so I don't think there is anything, or suppose in this room also there is nothing that can affect our health. Everything can affect our health. This light is there, with AC, everything. There is nothing in the earth that around the earth, like whatever, everything affects the earth. Similarly, like the health of the animals also been affected. And as you have seen, Dr. Vishwas, he has given elaborated discussion on his session on the One Health. So we are interrelated. Everybody is interrelated. Nothing we cannot live separately. So you think like our tradition, our culture, we had like cows, we rear cows and all that. And nowadays, like we have like, we keep all our pets inside. There are certain tribal areas in the Western Ghats. They keep the animals inside their house, the cattle specifically. They, maybe for the protection, maybe some reasons are there, but they are usually some areas they keep outside, okay, far away, but they keep it. So the tradition, culture also plays a very important role. Now the interaction is there, though. Human and animal interaction is there. Now, of course, environment interaction is there. Now, specifically, you are relating One Health with the tribal health, right? Now, as a tribal health, now, so sir was saying like the system, what they were following or what they are following, specifically the drugs and their behavior, everything lifestyle, including lifestyle. So because they are more into the forest, we have a huge tribal population in our country, and we have almost more than 1 lakh square kilometers of our stored by the protected area or the forest area. So this is the area where you can get the infection. These are the areas where there is specifically the wild animal interaction and the human interaction. So these tribal people, they are at risk. And of course, we those who are staying in cities, eating chickens, and we are exposed to different kinds of animals, pigs, cats, everything, and the food whatever we are eating. So what service saying antibiotic resistance, right? So tribals are not having that resistance because they are not consuming that amount of antibiotics. But we, those who are staying in the cities, we are exposed to antibiotics also. They are prescribed, and also food. So we cannot grow a chicken, any hen, any egg without antibiotic. So everywhere there is antibiotic. So research project is going on. So we could find antibiotic everywhere. Everywhere antibiotics present, including our water also. I don't know this water, but maybe this may also have antibiotics. So antibiotics everywhere. So judicious use of antibiotic is very, very important. So everybody has discussed. It's all this has been covered. Now I asked sir, what should I speak? Okay, so sir suggested me that how you can use One Health in health promotion. Okay, health promotion and education. Rather, I would say like health promotion and education has to be used by everywhere. Every stream they have to use. Non-communicable disease, communicable disease, mental health, social health. Everybody has to use from this health promotion concept. So that is like One Health only. So we have to have an intersectoral coordination. Without intersectoral coordination, you cannot achieve it. So right from like, suppose there is one case, any infection is there, any human being or animal also. Now suppose wild animals, they harbor a lot of viruses. So you have more than 9,000 species of animals are there. And they harbor different viruses, different bacteria, they are there. And interaction is there. Now, important thing is the viruses or the diseases, bacteria or parasites. So we are concerned about those who can be transmitted to the humans. That is important. So the surveillance is very important. So active surveillance system is important for animals also. So system has to be placed in the animals. So the veterinary public health people, that has to be and link between that. So the animals, if any case, any suspected disease, that has to be reported to the human health. And then further, then the Dr. Kasmiri was speaking about the capacity building. Yes, he rightly said about the education, right from the kindergarten to the PhD, One Health has to be there. Yes, right. So, but it will take time. So the next generation, it will help. But at present, what we need to do, we need to inculcate this One Health in every sphere of the. So those who are like Madam was saying, like we are working in silos. So everybody has to inculcate it. We have to have into those who are grassroots level workers. Like we have health, like ASHAs, Anganwadi workers, health workers. Similarly for the veterinarians also. So they are grassroots, environmentalists, those who are working with the food industry. So everybody has to be made aware of this One Health. And then only we can work together. And that health promotion speaks about that. What it speaks. So we have to give health in their own hand. They have to improve their own health. So what you have to do? You have to enable them. You have to enable them. How you are going to enable them? Through the education, through the awareness generation and behavior change. Now see, those who are handling the animals and all that, suppose many of you might be having pets in your house, right? So Ideally, if you touch the plate of this, you have to wash your hands, right? So how many of we actually strictly follow? Suppose your cat or whatever is there in your house, so you handle it, and somebody brings you, take this food. So do you go wash your hand and then eat? So that's the behavior, right? So in every aspect, those who are working, slaughtering of animals, handling animals, rearing animals, cattle, so simple hygiene, that is very, very important. So that behavior has to be inculcated. And here is an important role, like I had the experience of managing and this various outbreaks. So recently in Jharkhand, last year, there was an avian influenza in Ranchi, and so that many of this chicken deaths were reported. So what I could find is lack of coordination. Yes, they are working, we are also working. And ultimately, see, if what ground realities. If so as per the guidelines, you have to tell all this infected or those who are in the particular radius, 1 kilometer radius and 3 kilometer radius, everything. So to prevent infection, spread from the chickens to the humans. Now that period was the Holi, right? And everybody wants some non-vegetarian food at that time. So as we requested the veterinary department to cull all the infected birds or whatever in that particular radius. So, but there is no coordination. So I have to speak with the district magistrate. Now we have our colonial system, right? So he is the boss. You cannot, horizontally you cannot talk. So everything I have to talk to the DM, then DM will convey to them. So these systems are there. So we need to break down this system. Okay, like we have guidelines, foolproof guidelines are there, right? But ground realities are different. So that's why I'm saying we need to inculcate this. So unless and until we should have joint surveillance system, joint reporting, joint management, joint research, joint laboratories, and finally, whenever you like COVID, we have gone through COVID. So what we have learned through this. So at the end also, evaluation also should be joint. So one doctor has to be there, one veterinarian has to be there, one environmental has to be there, somebody from the food sector has to be there. And this has to be right from the bottom till the evaluation. The whole cycle has to be complete jointly. Without this, is not going to happen. Otherwise, some disease will be coming into the animals that is going to spill over into the humans. This will be happening. So, as Dr. Vishwas has shown you, like every year, like 5 viruses are coming. Almost 60 to 70% diseases are from the animals only. And there are other diseases, parasitic diseases, because there are no deaths. So they are underreported, and we don't know how many exact figures we are having. Okay. So because less deaths are there, so underreporting is there. That's why the reporting is also very, very important. In animals, surveillance system in the animals has to be there, surveillance system as we have in the humans, integrated disease surveillance. We are having a good IHIP platform is there. All the diseases, human diseases have been reported. At one click, you can get what is the situation in my country, in my district, you can get it. So similarly, we want for this the animals and that to be interlinked. Unless and until there is interlinking, sharing, this is not going to become a reality. That's what I'm saying. So health promotion says that. So we want intersectoral coordination. We want like healthy public policies. So whatever policies are there, need to be, health has to be kept in mind. So education policy, right? So now see our children are burdened, class 11, 12 child, studying, becoming obese, stressed. So this is our system. Whether education, this is where can we say it's healthy? Agriculture, every take any policy. Finally, our health has to be kept in mind. So this IT sector people, they are working 12 hours, 13 hours, lifestyle diseases, all they get by they reach by 40 years, they get diabetes, they get hypertension and all this. So this we need to actually inculcate this, put health promotion education into the system and communication. So not only with the community, yes, community is important. Without community, you cannot sustain. So many of your anthropology and your scholars, research scholars are there. So without the community, you cannot. We have to involve that. But within the systems, communication is not there. Within the system, vertical communication, horizontal communication, and with the community. And important is advocacy. We are lacking in advocacy. So everything is like planned at the topmost level. So if the people sit together, then the people at the bottom will sit together. Unless and until something comes from the top, we are not going to. That's why I'm saying district magistrate, unless and until he tells to the veterinary officer, okay, go share your data with the medical officer, then and then they will. So we need to avoid this thing. Why can't we sit together, all of us? Do everything right from the reporting till the evaluation of each and every, those who are risk. We can identify which are the risk diseases that can be transmitted from the, and vice versa also. Not only with humans can also transmit infection to the animals. A new strain can come and then again it can come back. So that has happened. So it's not just our health only, human health. Animal health is also important. And focusing on the tribals because they are at risk. So just now we have got Nipah and all these diseases that are there. These people are at risk. Now this TFD, gastrointestinal forest disease, tick-borne disease, the Shivamogga district, Karnataka. So this is there. Kerala Nipah is going to be put out. Zika has been reported sporadically from different places. Avian influenza is there. I don't know, but H5N1 it is a now this is a strain that can anytime spill over into the news. Every winter season there are outbreaks reported in India. So they are there. So this may there were certain cases reported from Malaysia and all that, but human to human transmission was not there. From birds to human was there. But anytime it may human to human transmission starts. If it starts, you can have a second pandemic like COVID pandemic. So for that we need to be ready. Unless and until we inculcate One Health, not only theoretically, practically also. Otherwise, we are going to suffer. Means we are not going to learn from our this pandemic. Again, we will suffer. That's. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Taklikar ji, for bringing in so important insights in this discussion. As he has mentioned, like this One Health is about collaboration, about joint partnerships, right from surveillance to management to evaluation everywhere. And again, another very important point that he has mentioned, how we can develop, strengthen the communication within the system, like not only communication with the communities, but within the systems of the different sectors working, how we can have this communication, we can strengthen the communication among them. What kind of policies should be there for bringing change both at the education policies as well as for operationalizing this collaborations in the field. So thank you so much, sir. Professor Roy, yes, he wants to add upon something.
Thank you very much. My dear friends, no, it's yeah. Can you hear me, everybody? Here, of course, outside. Casimiro, can you hear me? Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I can.
Good. Okay. Thanks for staying with here. We have discussion and audience in the conference room. What is the main message we got? And why did we spend nearly 2 hours over here? Where do we go from here? And as we discussed in the beginning, and all the speakers emphasized about the health, that for their health, good food environment where animals play a very important role. Some of the data which was stimulating give us a thought. For example, what came from the animal resource that 60% of the disease which humans suffer from, 60% come from the zoonotics, small microbe, no? Zoonotics, 60%. And what was another 75% of all our disease, humans, 75% of our disease are the origin is from animals. So for human, who is our enemy? To remove zoonotics and remove all the animals from the world, and it will become disease free. Is it not, Dr. Sir? Yes. सभी जानवर को हटा दीजिए, सभी पेड़ पौधों को हटा दीजिए, कोई बीमारी नहीं रहेगी. No, Casimiro, remove all animals from the world and we'll have no disease at all, right? But can you? Can you? No. So the choice between bad and worse. And you have to have a trade-off analysis, right? And that is why we are here. And Casimiro is thinking seriously how to remove all the animals from the world and those zoonotics at all, and will be no disease having. But that is not possible. So what is to be done? So this is the first thing, that no, we can't remove animal, we can't remove plant, and of course we don't think of removing human. We don't think of that. So go together. And for going together, since any country, maybe your France or India, Australia, any country will be managing the resources through their bureaucratic processes, sectoral processes. And all of us are having policy. We cannot go beyond policy, beyond constitutions. And each sector has got their own policy, own frame of rule, and they will all have their own political leaders. And bringing all those sectors, I give example, if there are 11 players in a football team, 11 players in a football team, and all the players think that I am a central forward, no goalkeeper. All think I am the best player. So it cannot have a good team. All the players, all the sectors have to set a common goal. So how the public health sector, the animal resource sector, the forest department, the agriculture, the water resource, fishery, and there are many, how they all will have a convergent point, how all will have a cohesive framework of law, one law, cohesive. How can we have? So unless all the policy, I'm not saying we will remove policy, it's not possible. But how all the policy will have a comprehensive, cohesive operational plan. So I'm looking for the operational plan, how all the sectors will work together to have an operational plan. And that is the challenge of the 11 players of the football team, who will be the captain. Because each sector is important. Who will be the captain? Who will lead? And that is the problem of human body. human society. Conflict of interest. Conflict of interest. So the challenge is not with the animals or zoonotic. The problem is how to have resolving conflict and have a common goal setting. So why we are having this meeting with you? Colleague, Dr. Mukherjee, you all are with the One Health working group experts. What we propose in India, my friends sitting from different districts over here, different states, we propose to have some tribal village. Why tribal? Because we have been already working to the tribal village and have a baseline. Where are the tribal now with respect to the health status? Now, who can do that? The tribal, they can talk. We can involve them from their perception, what kind of disease is prevalent with them. But ultimately, Dr. Saab, we must have some scientific trading where the community can have their system, their traditional knowledge, blended with the modern scientific knowledge, can have a baseline of certain zoonotic status. Is it possible? What we are thinking, that's why we have experts from public health and animal resource and the development and anthropology. Can we identify a group of villagers nearby, indigenous community? Catherine, you also think, and can we develop a method through which the community themselves can monitor few parameters of disease which is related with the animal origin, right? Not those who met with accidents. And if we have a baseline of disease, Jaydev, and then think of how to reduce it, and then develop a strategy for reduction of that disease, and monitor whether there has been any change with the community behavior, community monitoring in the incidence of disease. This is a very simple way of thinking, but again coming very difficult, first of all, to have a public functionary involvement, because unless public functionary like government policy, government department, tribal development, they all have a set goal, we will not get cooperation, right? So this is what I am thinking, how to begin at some place, and then those veterinary, animal resource doctors, experts, they will have a baseline of the health of the animal. So the baseline of the health of the human, baseline of the health of the animals, baseline of the health of the environment. If again environment has got water, soil health, forest biodiversity. So if these things, if we have a baseline at some places, and then with the baseline, changes in the human attitude and behavior and social norm, social order, behavior change, and then we monitor the impact. This is simple way of thinking. Have a baseline of the human zoonotic disease, baseline of the animal health, baseline of the environmental health, and then monitor it with the improvement. And then a model can emerge. What kind of community participation has been helpful in monitoring? Because unless the community monitors themselves, we cannot have millions of doctors for each village to monitor that. Neither animal resource experts. It's the community themselves have to monitor. This is what we propose. And on 26th of September, the World Environmental Health is there. So we can have in between some plan what we think, and we can also discuss to develop a strategy of operational plan, how to identify group of villages, indigenous in particular, because we have been working on that, we have access to that. And then the participatory monitoring, intervention, then outcome. So this is what we thought. Now, people who are there, you can have questions, and particularly from the Casimiro A4, he has to comment, and other audience, Jaidev, and other audience, if they have got question. But this is just a loud thinking that this 1.5 hour or 2 hours what we spend over here, what we discuss over here, how we must have some plan of action where we can demonstrate that it was not merely a discussion, rather some plan also. And I am very grateful to all of you, their commitment for your time and commitment for thinking for a way forward.
Yes,
I would like to add something.
any,
I would like to add something.
Yeah.
You see, we had a problem, of course, that was a sectoral problem, an industrial problem. When this, when you see, when we had this economic changes took place during the time of Manmohan Singh was the finance minister and all that, world opened up. Problem came for the small scale sector that they have to compete with the multinationals.
Yes.
This came. So this discussion went on, and then, in fact, it was thought of a small industry should look like a multinational to compete with the multinationals.
Maybe,
This is the
maybe
concept.
Professor Roy
So,
can close his mic.
A few of
we-
us,
we
we thought of going for cluster program.
Yeah.
So I was
আপনি একটু শোনা যাচ্ছে।
I was deputed to Italy because Italy started this cluster program. Northern Italy, rather. Southern Italy is just a nothing. It's a tourism. Northern Italy. I saw the failure and success, and we came back. Me with our team, we formulated a cluster program. It's a very liberal program. So it will have a quality control. It will have everything. Now, I am adding this scheme was formalized by me. I'm retired now. It is just changed, took place, and is a very poor person can earn more with this. There will be common brand name, common quality control, common packaging, common raw material bank. What I am suggesting here is, if such schemes were there in every ministry, maybe Ministry of this, maybe agriculture, everywhere. And the world bodies are also helping them. Can we have a cluster where industry, health, everything will come? We'll have a project report accordingly. Any one of the ministry will sanction. There, like Dr. Roy proposed, that there should be a grassroots level of working. We may have deal with them, some person who can take care, experiment in a particular cluster from where the model will emerge. We can think of this approaching ministry, whichever ministry having the cluster, like good agriculture practices is being promoted by World Bank. In West Bengal, I am in the committee monitor. So we are slowly switching over from chemical to organic organic areas. Certain changes may create problem. There are few villages there. If we can have an industry, we can have health, we can have everything. We may adopt one cluster for this experimentation, not far from IBRAT, so that from here you can monitor and bring out a model. This is my suggestion.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, we have this open session now. If anybody from the audience, if you want to have any questions, clarification from the speakers. Jaydeep, any comment from your side? You can come here. Please come here. Yeah, Casimiro, I'm coming back to you. Yeah. I think we can listen to Casimiro first and then we can come back to Jaydeep. Yes, Casimiro, please go ahead.
Yeah, it was just a short note about the opportunity. I cannot hear. There is someone. So I'm really sorry. The opportunity to bring eBread in the one sustainable health for all forum as a partner in order to bring the voice of the institute. I mean, Raktima is a member of our working groups as an individual, but maybe the institution itself can be part of the forum. Just to say that to Lynn.
Thank you so much. That's great. Thank you very much. Yes, Jaydeep.
We have Dr. Jaydeep Sengupta, the professor from Sri Raju University. Yes, Jaydeep.
Yes, good evening, everybody. And it was a very engrossing to listen to all the experts related to the One Health. And let me admit, I don't have much expertise on this, and I'm still on in a very rudimentary stage of listening and being enriched by your lectures and your thoughts, sir, also of coming forward with this agenda. But just imagine almost 60 years in this September month only. It was the Rachel Carson who actually first saw what harmful a DDT can do to the entire human life, and perhaps that was the germling from where this One Health nation has emerged. But even One Health before that, I'm much more interested in the sense of deep ecology, which has actually, because this is rooted not only in actions but in philosophy also, and that's a deep ecology. And then we have since yesterday night perhaps I've started reading Living with the Deep Ecology, a book by the Bill Deville, or 2012 it came out, and it was such a wonderful reading of how he distinguished between what we call as a shallow ecology, as what we do right now in actions of planting saplings here and there and thinking of that we are bringing green revolution, and not taking care that we ourselves are related much to this environment, the environment much to our living, much to our perishment also with the environment. The entire human cycle is a part of that environment, and that is what deep ecology is all about. And that deep ecology is related, it's not, to say the least, it is with the Adivasi community that they have learned to relate their living, their dying, their aging, their birth, all with this environmental term. So the model is already there, maybe in a very nebulous condition. What we need is to exhume it, we need to explore it deeply and watch how deeply it is working and bring to the limelight of the mainstream societies. So that's what I say. But my perspective, my take from this deep ecology and One Health is something different. I've come across wonderful papers in which this deep ecology we have in our Indian sentiments as well. If we find the life of Tagore, it was so deeply embedded into the environment. His choice of housing materials in his life course shows how he's deeply embedded with the ecology. Now, leaving apart that personality also, we have thought that how this deep ecology and One Health concept not only facilitates your life course, but also facilitates your dying, to which I am very interested. People have shown, there's a demonstration as how they have foregone life extending technologies just for the sake of dying naturally. dying naturally outside the hospital, outside the medical case. That is happening in most developed countries. Unfortunately, we are succumbing to the ICUs, we are succumbing to the life prolonging technologies. That is not the concept of One Health or the DPCology. So much more. So I'm not more interested into this later part of the life when this DPCology or One Health actually has got a huge role in our life and our dying. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Joydeep, for bringing in this philosophical aspects as well in the discussion, which Professor Joshi has initiated in his deliberation in the beginning in his keynote address. So you have concluded it with your this remark. So thank you very much. Thank you all. And I just have two kind of a small announcements. As Professor Roy has already mentioned, like from IBRAD, we are planning to initiate to develop some evidence-based cases of operationalization of One Health in the 3 different settings, 3 different locations: West Bengal, Orissa, and Chhattisgarh, and maybe Tripura also in the Northeast, in a small tribal landscape. To operate, how to operationalize this One Health, what is being discussed, how we can operationalize it. So we want to start a kind of a, you can say, pilot cases in 4 different locations. This is one, and we need all your inputs, suggestions, and guidance for it. And secondly, we are also going to start one certificate course on One Sustainable Health. And for that also, we need your association, as we have been discussing about collaboration, about partnership. So for designing the course, we also need your inputs and collaboration. So these are the 2 actions we are going to start to develop some evidence-based models and cases. And as again, the third point is that what Professor Roy has mentioned, like, yes, involving the community for surveillance, for monitoring, participatory monitoring. And One Health also requires developing preparedness at different levels. So one is when it happens, how do we tackle it? And the other part, like the public health, developing the preparedness at different levels, not only at the community level, but those who are the actors at the field level of different groups, like sectors, as well as the local self-government functionaries, panchayat. So these are the crucial actors in implementation. So how to develop their preparedness through different training modules and education. So these are the few things we just want to share with you. And with this, once again, I thank all the speakers from the core of my heart for your time, for being with us, and to all the participants. Thank you very much. Yeah, and we will break. Those who are outside, we cannot invite you for tea. You have tea in your own place, but for others who are here with us, let us join us for a tea outside. And we will also have a group photograph session outside. And may I request all the participants, online participants, to kindly switch on your video, so we can have the group photograph on screen, because we will not be able to get your photographs together here offline. So kindly switch on your video. We can have the photographs together with you online.
Yeah, if everyone can speak.
Yes, I'll request all of you to kindly, yeah, Vibhuda is there. Thank you. There's also Anubhav, others, if you can, yeah. Okay.
That too from Chandigarh, Raktima.
Okay. Okay. Bye-bye then. See you next time. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being with us. And we look forward to have more such interactions with all of you. Thank you so much, Casimiro, for being with us.
Thank you, Ragnar. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ask
Thank you.
Raktima to send you back at Paris.
India at Paris? Professor Roy is asking me to send your tea to Paris.
I would love it. I
Bye.
would love it.
Bye, bye,
Bye, bye, bye.